Hello, everyone. My name is Steven Tripp. I'm the president of Australians for Better Government, and I thought I'd just make a short video with the last week before the federal election coming up, just focusing on knowing your vote, making sure that you are voting correctly ahead of this federal election coming up on May the 3rd. Now, I think that there's a lot of videos out there that have already been done. Topher Field has done a very good video on the preference flows using marbles, and also One Nation have put out an animation also explaining preferences. So those resources are already out there. I'm only going to touch on the lower house very, very briefly. But there is another issue with the Senate that I want to focus on today. So this is all about knowing your vote, informing yourself, making sure that you vote correctly at this upcoming federal election. Australians for Better Government is focused on governmental reform, constitutional reform, and also improving the way that we vote. We are non-partisan, so we're not endorsing any particular party. This is just so you, as the voter, know exactly how to use your vote and also your preferences ahead of this election. So let's jump right into it. So, know your vote. What do you need to do when you walk into the polling booth this election? So this is the House of Representatives. This is the lower house. This is where the government is formed. Now, this is the smaller green ballot paper. You need to make sure that you number every single box. Please make sure that your numbers are clear and use your preferences strategically. Now, this has all got to do with preference discipline and preference flows. Again, please go back and watch the Topher Field video or the One Nation video and other resources out there that explain preferences. I'm not going to go into that so much today. Now, this is the Senate. This is what I want to focus on. This is the large white ballot paper. It's for the upper house, the House of Review, or the red house. You might view it that way, the Senate. Now, there's two ways of voting in the Senate, above the line or below the line. So if you vote above the line, which most Australians do, about 90% of Australians vote above the line, you need to put at least 1 to 6 numbers above the line. You can do more if you choose. If you want to go to 7, 8, 9, 10, if you want to number every single box, that's completely up to you. But you need to do a minimum of 6 for it to be a valid vote. So at least 1 to 6 above the line. If you choose to do below the line, you need to do at least 1 to 12. And again, you can do more. You can fill in every box if you wish, but you need to do at least 1 to 12 for your vote to be a formal, valid vote. Now, there is a strategy that comes into this. You need a backstop. Now, this is very important. Now, a backstop is a major party. It's one of the parties that are likely to be elected, whether it be Labor, Liberals, Nationals, or the Greens. If you don't include one of those parties as your backstop, your vote can exhaust. It can go into the never, never, and your vote won't count. So you need to keep that in mind when you're voting. You need to have a backstop. Now, here's some examples. Now, this is the Greens. The Greens use Labor as their backstop. As you can see there, number 6, they've got Labor. This is the legalized cannabis. The legalized cannabis uses the Greens as their backstop. As you can see again, the Greens are then number 6. This is the Australian First Alliance. This is an alliance of smaller right-leaning parties led by the Libertarian Party. They've put the Liberal Nationals as their backstop. As you can see, Liberals Nationals, number 6. One Nation have done the same thing. Box N, which is the Liberals Nationals, that's the One Nation's backstop. So all their votes, those 1 to 6 votes, if they exhaust each party, it will land eventually on the Liberals and Nationals. Now, this is the outlier. This is the People First How to Vote card in New South Wales. As you can see here, they've put Libertarian vote number 1, Family First 2, One Nation 3, Australian Christians 4, Trumpeter Patriots 5, and then the Citizens Party number 6. Now, all those 6 parties are very unlikely to win a Senate spot here in New South Wales. One Nation would probably be the closest to get there, but if they don't, then your vote will exhaust. If you follow this How to Vote card, your vote is likely to exhaust. You need to keep that in mind. You need a backstop. Australians for Better Government is not about telling you who to vote for, but in this occasion, I would strongly suggest that you add a number 7, which would be your backstop, one of the major parties, so that your vote goes somewhere. So I hope that all makes sense. You need your vote to fall somewhere. You need that backstop, whether it be Liberals, Labor, Nationals, Greens, they're the four parties that are likely to be elected in each of the states around the country. There might be some differences. There might be occasions when One Nation is a chance. There might be occasions where Jackie Lambie Network is a chance, or potentially the Teals in the ACT. You need to educate yourself in each state as you go along. But generally, the general rule is one of those four major parties needs to act as your backstop, and your vote will hopefully carry through. You don't want to vote for smaller parties, 1 to 6, and then for your vote to exhaust and go nowhere. If you do want to vote for those 6 minor parties, you can, but maybe add that 7th or whatever you choose to do. But just keep that in mind. Strategically, you need to have that backstop there. It is very important. Now, here's some resources that you might want to look at. This is from Turning Point Australia. Joel Jamal and Turning Point Australia has done some very good graphics here that you can see where all the parties are voting in the Senate. And as you can see down the bottom there, most of the parties have put a backstop as one of the majors. Turning Point itself has used the Liberals Nationals as their backstop. So is One Nation, so is the Libertarians, so is Family First and the Heart Party, and also the Australian Christians. People First and the Trumpeter Patriots are the only outliers. They haven't had any backstop at all. So if you are following one of those how to vote cards, please keep in mind that your vote may exhaust, and then please think about having the backstop. Liberals, Nationals and Labor, they're the major parties. They don't need a backstop because their vote's already going to them. And as you can see, legalised cannabis, as we talked about, have the Greens as their backstop, and the Greens have Labor as their backstop. This is also a very good resource if you want to know where the parties sit. Again, from Turning Point Australia, on the left to right scale, you can see here on the left, you've got parties like the Socialist Alliance and the Victorian Socialist far left parties, and all the way through in the middle, you've got Labor and Liberal. And to the far right, you've got the Australian Christians, Family First, People First, parties like that. If you don't have time to research some of these parties and see where they stand on the political spectrum, this is a good resource that you can quickly find out about that. And lastly, just to finish up, I want to let you know about the fundraiser coming up for Australians for Better Government. This is all about building up our resources so we can expand our movement, we can build our movement. We rely on everyday people like yourself to support us. So please come to this fundraiser. It's at the Warrawee Club in Warrawee. It's on Sunday, May 25th from noon. You can hear John Ruddick. He'll be speaking. Also, Darren de Bortley from de Bortley Wines, Kevin Lockray, who's a co-founder of Australians for Better Government, and myself will be having raffles, we'll be having prizes, and it will be a great fun day where you can network with like-minded people that care about this country, that care about our system of government, and want to see a much better Australia. So thank you for joining me on this short presentation. I hope you learned something, and best of luck at this election. Thank you.